In today's video, we will continue discussing the steps to commission the Q.HOME CORE energy storage system, this time as an AC-coupled backup-enabled system. This video is intended as a quick reference guide for installers commissioning the Q.HOME CORE energy storage system. Before commissioning, please visit qpartnerus.com and sign up to become a Q partner. Then register and complete the Q.HOME CORE ESS training online. Once complete, email your course certificate to na.support@qcells.com to receive your Q.HOME agent or installer credentials. You can find more information and technical design guides for the AC-coupled configuration in the Q.HOME CORE Technical Resource Guide found online at us.qcells.com or in the description of this video below. To complete the commissioning process, you will need the following: access to the Q.HOME monitoring portal, access to the Q.HOME mobile app, established network communications for the inverter, a fully installed system ready to be powered on, and the Q.HOME CORE Technical Resource Guide and Installation Manual. It's important to note that the AC-coupled configuration requires an external production CT to be installed and landed in the hub to capture the AC-coupled system's energy generation. The external production CT is not included with the hub and must be purchased separately. Commissioning the system includes the completion of the following steps: create an end-user account, add the end-user account to your system and site list, inverter communication setup, inverter configuration settings, system firmware update check, hardware check, and system review. Steps 1 through 3 are the same as those outlined in the backup-enabled Q.HOME CORE commissioning video. For a detailed walkthrough of these steps, please check out the video linked in the description below. Otherwise, this video will go over the inverter configuration settings, system firmware updates, and hardware check and system review for an AC-coupled system with a single Q-Volt inverter. Using the Q.HOME mobile app, log in and select the Inverter tab at the top of the screen. Find the inverter serial number associated with the system. The site will only appear on this list after it's been added to your installer account as a new device from the monitoring portal website. Find the settings icon to the right of the inverter serial number and click on it to access the inverter settings. The settings will be characterized between basic, advanced, and super. You will only need to access the basic and advanced settings to complete commissioning. Start with basic settings to verify the date, time, and language are correct. Select System Switch and set this to on, then press Save. Select Work Mode and choose your desired mode appropriate for the system owner, then press Save. Go back to the inverter settings and enter the advanced settings. Input the password found in the commissioning guide to access advanced settings. Once in the advanced settings, select Grid Code and choose the code appropriate for your location. Select Grid Recovery and confirm Enter Service shows enabled. Next, select Microgrid and change this to enabled. Then press Save. Confirm the solar inverter location from this same list. If your AC-coupled PV system is landed in the Q.HOME Hub busbar on a dedicated circuit breaker, choose ESS port. Change this to backup port when the AC-coupled PV system is landed on a circuit breaker on the panel connected to the load terminals on the Q.HOME Hub. Scroll down the list to verify the machine style is set to Q-Volt A, and press Save. Scroll further down and select Home Backup Mode, then select between Whole Home or Partial Home Backup. Once complete, exit out of the inverter settings and go back to the inverter list to complete the next step. It is important to verify that the hardware is up to date with the most recent firmware version for optimal operation. From the same inverter list in the Q.HOME mobile app, locate the correct inverter serial number associated with the system. Find the firmware icon to the right of the inverter serial number and click on it to access the hardware firmware versions. Select the equipment classification and choose the most recent firmware. When selecting the firmware version, please check the remarks to verify the status as official version. You can find the existing hardware firmware version at the top of the page to verify if it should be updated. Update the firmware in the following order: Communications Module, Hub, Inverter ARM, Inverter DSP, Inverter Deputy DSP, and Battery. Each firmware update will display the status of the download as a percentage between 0 to 100%. Once fully downloaded, the inverter status will change to updating or show the updating icon. The firmware update is complete when the status changes to update completed or the checkmark appears on the firmware. Once all firmware updates are complete, restart the system by powering down the hardware, then turn everything back on. The steps outlined for the firmware update require the inverter to be connected to a network. If no network is available for the inverter to connect to, a local firmware update can be pushed using a USB thumb drive. Please contact support for more information on where to access these files. After resetting the system, the inverters will enter an automatic check mode. Once complete, confirm no errors or alarms are flagging on the system. Connect to the inverter locally or check the monitoring data to ensure the generation icon appears on the energy diagram for the AC-coupled solar system. The original PV icon will remain on the diagram with no data being reported for DC energy. The energy diagram should reflect the batteries charging from the solar-generated energy. Test the operation of EPS mode by turning off the disconnecting device feeding the hub. The system will enter EPS mode and will energize the backup load panel with solar and battery power. Confirm the consumption data is reporting correctly by checking that the utility meter readings match the consumption meter data with the solar and batteries turned off. Without proper load data, the battery will not operate correctly and can lead to issues or damage to the hardware. If no alarms or errors persist and the load measurements match the utility meter readings, you have successfully completed the commissioning of the Q.HOME CORE AC-coupled backup system. Congratulations, and thank you for watching this video.